Instagram stories for Monday, February 24th. I'm your host, Daniel Hill. Today on the show, we're going to dive into what the head of Instagram shared on his recent Ask Me Anything. There's some questions around stories, like how does ranking work for stories? And when will it be possible to schedule stories? Additionally, you will be hearing the second half of the interview I did with Kirsti Lang at Buffer, talking about what the Buffer team learned from the millions of posts that people made using their service and how you can take that data and apply it to get the maximum amount of reach on Instagram. All of that and more on today's episode, but first, here's a quick word from our sponsor. Welcome back. Let's start with the questions that the head of Instagram answered about stories, and starting by explaining how ranking works for stories. If you've been listening to this show for a while, you know Instagram tries to show you the stories that it thinks you will be most interested in based on the people who you interact with most frequently. Here's Adam's answer to the question, how does ranking work for stories?
We try and rank stories based on how interested we think the viewer is in them. The things that we predict as a proxy for thinking you might be interested are you going to tap the story if you see it? Are you going to like the story if you open it? And are you going to reply to the story if you open it? But those are kind of the major ones. That's the vast majority of how the ranking system works for stories. The thing about stories is there's way more stories than there is time to consume them. And so it's much more for people's friends, reciprocal follows, people who follow you back. It's less of a meaningful distribution tool or channel for creators, though it's a meaningful one.
He kind of went off the rails a little bit at the end with that answer, but what he means is it is unlikely for people who don't follow you to watch your story. Therefore, the people who are most likely to watch your story are the people who already follow you and you follow them. I would like to say that although I used to really love stories, I wish that you did not have the ability to share any random piece of content to your story just because you liked it and wanted to share it. I understand that plenty of people see content that they like and they want their audience more broadly to be able to see that. And I understand that, but I sometimes wish that stories were restricted to only content that you created yourself and it wasn't about amplifying other people's content. Let's go on to the next story-related question. The answer Adam gives is not 100% accurate, so I'm going to let him answer the question and then I'll give a little bit more information. The question: when will it be possible to schedule stories with stickers? So what this person is wanting to do is schedule a story in the future and be able to add some stickers to that story as they're scheduling it. Here's Adam's answer to that question.
No plans to build the ability to schedule stories right now. The whole point of stories is that they're kind of a behind the scenes, authentic sharing format. And if you're scheduling them ahead of time, that's sort of at odds with the purpose of stories. So right now, the plan is just to have those scheduled features be limited to things like feed posts and reels and on threads for threads.
Okay, I'm going to give Adam's answer a little bit of context because it's not fully correct. Adam's answer relates to the Instagram app. You cannot schedule a story within the Instagram app on your phone or on the desktop. Having said that, if you go to the Meta Business Suite, which you can get to by going to business.facebook.com, you can create a story in there and you can in fact schedule it for the future. I know because I just did it. I set up a story and I scheduled it to go tomorrow morning at 8:30. And I was even able to add a sticker. In fact, I used the link sticker. I posted the graphic from the interview that I did with Kirsti Lang, and I posted the link to watch it directly on YouTube, and I scheduled that story for tomorrow morning. So context here, what Adam said is accurate, speaking to only inside the Instagram app, but by using the Meta Business Suite, you certainly can schedule stories. And if that's something you really want to do, I would absolutely recommend exploring this tool and doing it. Let's go on to the next question, which has to do with the upcoming app that Instagram will be releasing, entirely designed around video editing. The app is going to be called Edits, and it's designed to compete with CapCut. The question: will Edits have a premium subscription? Is it free? I think you're going to like this answer.
Edits, which is going to come out in a matter of weeks, is going to be free. We might have some paid features over time, but right now we're focused on just having the most compelling free set of creative tools possible, not just for video editing, but for collecting your ideas, for sharing them with friends, and for seeing how the reels you do post on Instagram do. So hopefully it'll be a full suite for the entire creative experience. And to start, all of the features are free.
Although I am excited that edits will be free, I am disappointed that there is no desktop version, and I will continue to say that every time I talk about the Edits app. Let's go on to the next question. Instagram content strategy. What to focus on? Great question. There are so many different ways to use Instagram, and it really depends on what your goals are. If your goals are to get in front of as many eyeballs as possible, and they are people who do not currently follow you, you should absolutely be trying to take advantage of the Reels trials as much as you humanly can. Here's Adam's answer to the question, IG content strategy, what to focus on.
We're focused on creators. We think power is going to continue to shift from institutions to individuals across industries. Athletes are more relevant than teams now. Journalists are building their own brands outside of the publications that they work for. Whether it's entertainment or news or music, more and more people are interested in individuals. And so we're building for creators all around the world. We focus on creators that are the most relevant with young people because young people are early adopters. They tend to give us a sense for where the world is going to go over time. And we focus worldwide. Those are our priorities.
I would have thought his answer would be a lot more focused around what kind of content to create, but he seemed to take that in a completely different direction. Let's go on to the last question we're going to do for the Q&A part. If you auto share with Facebook, does reach split between the two platforms? So what this person is asking is if they post something to Instagram and they also post it at the same time through Instagram to Facebook, is their reach split 50-50 between the two? The answer to that is no. Posting your content to as many platforms as possible is good because it gives you more chance to have your content seen by more people. Here's Adam's answer to the question.
If you cross-post to Facebook when you post to Instagram, it's not going to split your reach. It will increase your reach because you're going to reach people on Facebook in addition to on Instagram.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Kirsti Lang from the Buffer team is going to share all the analytics data that they have from all the posts that have been made on Buffer to Instagram to help you calculate the best time to post. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Here's more of the interview that I did with Kirsti Lang from the Buffer team, talking about the analytics data that they have access to, that they've uncovered to determine the best time that you should post on Instagram. Here's more of that interview. Because I want to be conscious of time, I want to jump into some of the other data that you and the Buffer team have been sharing recently when it comes to the best time to post. Do you mind talking a little bit about some of the findings that you've had around that?
Yeah, so we've had this data for a while. We had our 2024 data up last year, and now we've completely refreshed that. I'm in the process of overhauling all of the articles to reflect the latest data that we have. So far, I've done Instagram, and we've got LinkedIn up, and we've got TikTok coming. So by the time this is published, maybe this will all be out. But yeah, so that's what I'm working on at the moment. I love the best time to post data for Instagram because, as you highlighted earlier, and this is something that I've seen in my own content, right? So my Instagram insights tell me that my audience is most active at 6 p.m. And so I've been posting content at 6 p.m.
Actually, sorry to interrupt. Is that 6 p.m. in your time zone, or is that 6 p.m. in the Instagram headquarters time zone?
Oh gosh, this is a whole other worms with best time to post data, because so often it's EST or PT. And for someone who's based in South Africa, what do I do with that? Should I be posting in the middle of the night? What? And what we did with our analysis is I really wanted to make sure that it was universally applicable. Wherever your audience is the time zone that we are. I'm fudging this. I'm trying to say basically the times that we have given for the study are globally applicable. So Julian has done some crazy mathematical magic, and he has made it universally applicable for your time zone. And it makes sense, right? Because audience behaviors and their patterns are largely quite similar throughout the day, right? They're going to be on Instagram at similar times if they're a similar demographic in different countries. So yeah, I've gone off.
I'm so glad you clarified that. Thank you first. No, I'm glad you did, because I believe that, and I'm going off my memory, but when I look into the Instagram insights, it shows me best time to post based on Pacific, I believe. I could be wrong on that. So hearing you, I might be wrong, but hearing, okay, we looked at the data and we analyzed what's best for your specific audience where you are is exactly what I needed to hear. So thank you for spending the time and really getting into the weeds to do that homework. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, that's all Julian. I feel like he should have come on the podcast to talk about this because he understands the nuance. But Daniel, would you like to know the best times to post on Instagram in 2025?
Absolutely would.
Okay, so I've got them. So generally speaking, Instagram behavior, and this has been so fascinating because I can compare all of the data we have to other platforms. So LinkedIn is so predictable. There are chunks of time that are good for posting, that we see that posts get high engagement or high reach. But for Instagram, it's slightly less predictable, but there is a definite pattern there. For TikTok, it's absolute chaos. It's sporadic high points throughout the day. I'm like, oh, is there a pattern here? I don't know. But anyway, Instagram is great. And generally, I can recommend, if you can't be bothered with specific times, you don't want to figure out a fancy content calendar, between 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. in your audience's time zone is the best time to post on Instagram. But I can also give you very specific times for each day if you're interested in
I would
those.
like any and all of that if you're okay to share it.
Best time to post on Instagram on Monday is 3 p.m. Then on Tuesday, it's 3 p.m. Wednesday, it is 3 p.m. Friday is 3 p.m. And then Saturday and Sunday, it is 6 p.m. Very predictable. Folks behave like clockwork. I like to think that people are like logging onto Instagram towards the end of the workday and into the evening, right? Because if you think about how you use Instagram, I would probably be willing to bet you're spending most of your downtime, evening time, logging onto the platform.
For me, it's short breaks throughout the day, but yes, significantly more. And especially my wife, I watch her when she comes home from work. She sits down on the couch to decompress for a little while. And that's the first thing she does is start scrolling through. So I completely get that. And that makes sense. People do it on the train ride home or on the bus home, whatever. Absolutely makes sense. Do you have any data? And I'm sorry for putting this question on you on the spot, but weekends versus weekdays, is it worth posting on the weekends?
Data? I have the data. Yes, I do. So if you want to check out all of this and look at the data without my incoherent ramblings, do head over to buffer.com, or you can just Google when is the best time to post on Instagram, and it should come up close to the top, I hope.
I will link to all of this in the show notes.
Oh, bless you. Okay,
please continue.
Thank you. So there are marginal differences between the days of the week in terms of reach on Instagram. So what we did is, it's also worth pointing out that we analyzed the reach of Instagram posts compared to the time that they were posted. So in the data, we are making these assumptions on best time to post based on Instagram accounts that posted at the specific time or in the specific day tended to get the most reach, just for additional context. But the best day to post on Instagram, according to our analysis, is Friday. But it's only marginally better than Monday. Monday is also a great day to post on Instagram. And then on the weekend, we see things are slightly lower than weekdays on a Saturday, and then fairly significantly lower on a Sunday. So I would avoid weekends if you can.
That is very interesting. That's actually a key takeaway, because if you work very hard on the content and maybe you do that over the weekend, it's going to be worth it to wait until Monday at 3 p.m. your time for that added boost. Yeah. It's worth it, right? You've already made the content. You sit on it for a day and a half and you get more bang for your buck, so to speak. So I really like that. And I appreciate that level of data. I'm going to pause it there for a quick second. There are some caveats to what Kirsti is explaining. However, we will get into those after the break. Welcome back. Although Kirsti has explained the best time to post, there are some caveats around that. Here's Kirsti explaining what those are.
Just the kind of thing that I tend to tell people, that obviously every single audience is different. And while this is probably true for a lot of people, and I think you will probably see good results if you do stick to these times, firstly, every audience is different. So you're going to need to experiment with these time slots, see if you can find your own sweet spot, right? And then secondly, I've completely lost my train of thought. Please edit this part out. Oh, yes. Secondly, the thing that I wanted to add was that posting at the best time in the world for your audience, if every single follower that you had was online at a specific time, it doesn't guarantee the success of your post, right? Because time is only a small part of the Instagram algorithm. And so there, I would argue, are other things that are more important. So for example, if you're posting reels, a strong hook, visual and verbal. If you're posting photos, are they authentic? Are they engaging? And there are a host of things to think about across industries. So the quality of the content is always going to be the most important thing. But if you have high quality content, you have a good understanding of what your audience is looking for, then posting at these good times is probably going to give your content a nice little nudge, but it's not going to be your saving grace if you don't know what to be posting for your audience. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. And I'm really glad you added all those caveats because those are really important. Just because you post at the world's greatest time does not necessarily mean that content is going to resonate if you don't have a good hook and all the other things you mentioned. So I'm really glad you said all of that. Kirsti, where can we continue to follow your journey online, and what can we look forward to you creating in the near future?
Yeah. Oh, good question. Whatever comes into my head on the day is usually what I create. I don't know. That's not true. There is a plan. But yeah, so I am getting a little bit more active again on Instagram. My primary social platform right now is LinkedIn because obviously I talk about things that are more appealing to professionals than Instagram audiences. But you can still find me having some fun around on there on Reels. It's me, Kirsti, on Instagram, and then Kirsti Lang on LinkedIn. Yeah, if you're interested in hearing some more of my incoherent ramblings. Also, check out the content on the Buffer blog. We have such great stuff and we have such wonderful experts on the team. It is a delight to create this content. So, yeah, definitely do check that out if you want some social media guidance.
I will link to all of that in the show notes. Kirsti, thank you so much for coming on, and thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you for putting up with all of my random rabbit holes that I went down there. I feel like I probably didn't explain things as coherently as I could have, but yeah, it's been a delight.
Okay, that's it for the main part of my interview with Kirsti. There's actually another clip where I ask her about her content creation space and what kind of equipment she uses, and we get into that. You can hear it after the wrap outro if you want to hear more. And of course, you can find links to everything I talked about on my interview with Kirsti in the show notes. So be sure to check that out. Thanks so much for listening.
Let me tell you a couple things that you should know about me. A product manager but do not have a bachelor's degree. But actually that's factually a fraction of me. And other fractions posting content irregular and irrationally. Still probably won't get a job at the Gram. They forgot, they don't know, or don't care who I am. That's why you never see me at the parties and events. My lack of followers must make me irrelevant. Don't have a course, a book to sell to make a bag of grand. Not a social media marketer, don't represent any brands. Plain to see, don't have an agency. But I got a lot of spam, just putting in my work without the glitz and glam. Won't catch me eating fish unless it's shrimp or clam. No six pack, no risk that there's a gym card in my hand. Don't have a full-time job, but I got a lot of plans. Stay plotting, dropping knowledge on TikTok and Instagram.
Just the kind of thing that I tend to tell people, that obviously every single audience is different. And while this is probably true for a lot of people, and I think you will probably see good results if you do stick to these times, firstly, every audience is different. So you're going to need to experiment with these time slots, see if you can find your own sweet spot, right? And then secondly, I've completely lost my train of thought. Please edit this part out. Oh, yes. Secondly, the thing that I wanted to add was that posting at the best time in the world for your audience, if every single follower that you had was online at a specific time, it doesn't guarantee the success of your post, right? Because time is only a small part of the Instagram algorithm. And so there, I would argue, are other things that are more important. So for example, if you're posting reels, a strong hook, visual and verbal, if you're posting photos, are they authentic? Are they engaging? And there are a host of things to think about across industries. So the quality of the content is always going to be the most important thing. But if you have high quality content, you have a good understanding of what your audience is looking for, then posting at these good times is probably going to give your content a nice little nudge, but it's not going to be your saving grace if you don't know what to be posting for your audience. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. And I'm really glad you added all those caveats because those are really important. Just because you post at the world's greatest time does not necessarily mean that content is going to resonate if you don't have a good hook and all the other things you mentioned. So I'm really glad you said all of that. Kirsti, where can we continue to follow your journey online, and what can we look forward to you creating in the near future?
Yeah. Oh, good question. Whatever comes into my head on the day is usually what I create. I don't know. That's not true. There is a plan. But yeah, so I am getting a little bit more active again on Instagram. My primary social platform right now is LinkedIn because obviously I talk about things that are more appealing to professionals than Instagram audiences. But you can still find me having some fun around on there on Reels. It's me, Kirsti, on Instagram, and then Kirsti Lang on LinkedIn. Yeah, if you're interested in hearing some more of my incoherent ramblings. Also, check out the content on the Buffer blog. We have such great stuff and we have such wonderful experts on the team. It is a delight to create this content. So yeah, definitely do check that out if you want some social media guidance.
I will link to all of that in the show notes. Kirsti, thank you so much for coming on, and thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you for putting up with all of my random rabbit holes that I went down there. I feel like I probably didn't explain things as coherently as I could have, but yeah, it's been a delight.
Okay, so maybe we could just spend a minute or two, if you feel comfortable, to talk about sort
Yeah.
of your background and how you set up and frame your videos and stuff like that. Would that be all right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Kirsty, one of the
Okay.
things that I wanted to talk to you about is how you make your videos. The first time I saw your video that you were talking about this data and how you analyzed it and what the findings were, you just had a great setup and it made me want to redecorate my poorly decorated space. Can you talk a little bit about how you set that up, how you film your videos, how you make everything look so cohesively decorated in a way that's so attractive? Can you talk about that, please?
That is so kind. It's honestly getting my workspace set up has been my passion project for a couple of months now. So it's really good to hear you say that. I think so. Obviously, I work remotely. So being in a beautiful space, I think helps me be a little bit more productive. But also, I am working on Buffer's YouTube channel now as well. So we're in the process of converting all of our great blog content into YouTube videos. And we didn't have a huge amount of budget. We weren't going to hire talent to present the videos or be able to hire studios. We just really wanted to do minimum viable product to test it out. And I was like, I can do this. I'm going to figure it out. And part of figuring that out did involve honing my presenting skills, getting some kind of bare bones tech, and then also making sure that my space looked good. Because I don't know if you ever, I don't know, have you watched a YouTube video ever? People just have the most insane setups because they all film in beautiful studios. So I thought if I'm going to be competing on this level, it needs to look decent. So yeah, I appreciate you saying that. It's a work in progress. It needs to tidy up my little space.
Can you talk briefly about some of the tools that you use? Because I'm almost positive you have a standing desk. I've seen how your microphone is positioned and everything. Can you talk about that for a quick second as well?
Yeah. Oh man, one of my favorite things to talk about on Instagram is my office setup and the various things that I use. So if you do want to check out where I got stuff, I don't know if it'll be easy to find for US folks because most of it was bought in South Africa, but I have a full list of everything over on Instagram. But so I have a standing desk. I recently bought a walking pad, which I was hoping would change my life. It hasn't, but it's been quite nice, I think. I don't want to
Appreciate the
oversell
honesty.
it. Yeah, it's been fine. And then I'm a multi-screen worker. So I have 3 screens, including my laptop, which is a problem. But also for filming my videos, I have this podcasting mic, which I use. It's a Shure MV7, I think the older version. And then I use my phone to film most of my videos. I get really good quality content from my phone. And then I have a really simple budget tripod that I stick my phone on. So
And do
yeah.
you add the captions and graphics yourself? Do you do all the video editing on your own too?
Yeah. Oh, this is my favorite thing to talk about. Can you tell I'm getting really excited here? So yes, I edit all of the videos end to end as well. So it's really cool. We obviously write the content, we script the videos, we film the videos. My colleague Tammy Oladipo and I do everything end to end. And yeah, we edit them as well. So I have been using CapCut to edit. I feel like I might need to say CapCut RIP. We are looking at exploring other tools, but the desktop version of CapCut is really cool. It's really good for beginners. And I think once you nail that, like it's not a very big step up to the more advanced editing tools like, I don't know, Premiere Pro or Final Cut. So that's my mountain to climb this year, is to get more advanced video editing. But yeah, for now it's CapCut.
I have been using CapCut on the desktop as well. I personally just use the free version for some quick cuts, but as they put more and more features behind the paywall, I personally have not decided to pay for it until I know either it's going to still be available or it's not going to be, in which case I will be glad I did not pay for it. But CapCut is absolutely a great way to get started. It's not too intimidating. It might seem that way at first, but excellent way to get started video editing on the desktop. I 100% agree with that.
Absolutely. Do you edit the podcast on those?